and debris was removed from the roadway. Authorities say a South Dakota man has died after his vehicle struck a guardrail on the south side of a bridge connecting South Dakota and Nebraska. The crash happened Wednesday afternoon just after 3:30.
Check, 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 check.
Check, check, check. Mic check, mic check. Joanne, what are you handing out?
Lived in Yankton. While the official numbers will be released later this month, most universities in South Dakota are anticipating lower enrollments this year. SDSU President Barry Dunn says it has been a struggle attracting students over the last few years.
I think they're down. I think most universities will show that. We're not allowed to release the numbers yet, but North Dakota State's down, University of Northern Iowa's down, Mankato State I heard was down. So smaller schools are struggling right now. It's a great economy. So it's kind of tough to explain, but the demographics aren't in our favor. We've lost a lot of small town kids.
Dunn says they're very concerned about a drop in ag classes.
But dairy science is a great example. Just an incredible field in dairy production, dairy manufacturing, very sophisticated, very high tech, and yet I think the image of the old-fashioned milking facility, doesn't help us as we move into a very high tech, clean, safe working environment, very different than what people's image is of agriculture.
Dunn says young people need to know about the good careers available in ag-related fields.
We've got work to do to educate young people about the futures of agriculture. We need to celebrate new young farmers and not just retirements, because our state needs youth infused in agriculture for us to move forward.
SDSU's enrollment was just over 12,100 last fall. A South Dakotan has created a new online site where livestock producers can contract to sell their cattle. Kim Ulmer owns a livestock and machinery marketing company in Huron. Ulmer says he created the American Mercantile Exchange in response to volatile market conditions. The first contract sales on the American Mercantile Exchange were September 3rd. Ulmer says 4 loads of cattle were up for sale and all 4 sold. Ulmer says sales will be limited to cattle that are close to sale weight until the Mercantile has a larger database of buyers and sellers. A federal judge in Rapid City has rejected a motion to dismiss a sexual assault case after the defense argued federal agents failed to collect a recording that could have been helpful to the defendant's case. Judge Jeffrey Viken ruled this week the FBI's failure to collect a cell phone audio recording of the 17-year-old girl after the alleged rape did not violate Tolan Gregg's due process, since he had similar evidence he could use at trial. The audio was recorded by Gregg just after the alleged assault in December 2016. Gregg says the girl never talked about being assaulted in the recording. And it's homecoming week at Watertown High School. It culminates with a pair of events this weekend. The Arrow football team will host Rapid City Central at the stadium tonight. And then tomorrow, 5 new members will be inducted into the Watertown High School Athletic Hall of Fame. This year's class includes John White, Philip Davis, Ryan Berry, Kirsten Thompson, and Coach Vic Godfrey. The induction ceremonies are being held at the Watertown Event Center on Saturday, starting with a 5 p.m. social, followed by dinner and the induction program. That's a look at what's happening this morning from the KWAT Newsroom. I'm Mike Tanner.
Thanks, Mike. KWAT News brought to you by Prairie Lakes Healthcare System, where your help is their mission.
Are you looking for a unique way to dress up your business? Are you out of room for signage at your current location? Did you know that you can use a product called View-Through on your windows? It doesn't count against your sign square footage totals, and we can print just about anything on it. They're nice looking, and they're easy to change. Call us to find out more information. 886-4616.
Absolutely, positively, you can't do better than Start Sign Display.
Health insurance can be confusing. Co-pays, deductibles, co-insurance. What does it all mean? Let Todd Frymark and Dawn Olson at Frymark and Associates help. Whether you're seeking business or individual coverage, they'll take the time to educate you, assess your individual needs, and provide you with the coverage desired. Frymark and Associates, across from the Prairie Stop in Watertown. Call 882-1688. 882-1688. Frymark and Associates.
Get ready to roll. These mornings you can catch a sniff of fall in the air. There's still time to set up with a pressure washer before the harvesting scramble begins. Hi, this is Jay at Proline, here to talk to you about Alcoa Cleaning Systems. We carry high-pressure, hot water Alcoa pressure washers, portable gas engine or electric cold water unit, trailer units as well as stationary unit. Alcoas are built to last. They come with superior warranties and are sold and serviced right here in Uptown Watertown. Proline, 117 West Kemp Avenue. Proline is honored to support our farming community since 1994.
KWAT Weather, it's brought to you by Tacker Plumbing and Heating, a division of Andor Incorporated.
Fall is in the air. That means winter is just around the corner and heating season is coming soon. Time to call Tacker Plumbing and Heating to schedule your preseason heating check. Tacker's highly skilled technicians will service your furnace to ensure it operates at peak efficiency. Stay warm and comfortable all winter long. Call Tacker Plumbing and Heating Andor Incorporated.
Call on the business that's service built. Call Tacker.
The business that's service built.
All right, let's take a look at our almanac information as we add that to our weather forecast for today. Sunrise this morning at 7:04, sunset tonight at 7:47, and now my screen has gone completely blank with the almanac information. Oh, now it's back. Now it's back. All right, 7:44, sunset tonight. 12 hours, 39 minutes to the duration of sunlight, but we won't see an awful lot of sun till the afternoon. Last year, 76 and 64. Record, 1939 of 96. 1902 of 25. Normals are 72 and 49. Today's high, 63 and 50 for our high and low, respectively. We promised the wind for today. We're already delivering on that. Wind started to pick up in the evening hours. Westerly 20 with gust to 32. Barometer at 29.97. Dew point at 47. 89% relative humidity. Skies are overcast and 50. We are expecting clouds to be on the decrease for this afternoon. Should be just about partly cloudy skies for the parade this afternoon at 63. 52 tonight. 76 for tomorrow. 80 plus for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, possibly Wednesday as well, with more sunshine. Next forecast for precipitation, maybe next Thursday we'll start to see a change with that next front that comes in. Till then, enjoy the very nice weather. KWAT Weather. It's brought to you by Tackers, the business that service built. Well, it's a busy day in South Shore. Just got busier with 3 celebrities in town, or 2 celebrities and an engineer. And I guess that would be Mike Tanner, Josh Y., and engineer Todd Anderson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to South Shore. We take the show on the road on this Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th,
Friday the
Josh.
13th, and I think there's a full moon tonight, too, isn't there?
Oh,
There might be. Man, look out.
Yeah. Have you noticed, Mike Tanner? The panel of judges has arrived, and they're here to judge us.
Kind of nervous about this.
I am kind of nervous. Yeah, it's like being on live TV. You know, we have the
Like
audience.
America's Got Talent, except
Right.
we don't have any. So
No talent here, but yeah, if they turn around and we see their back, we know that they disapprove.
why are we in South Shore?
Why are we in South Shore?
Why are we in South Shore,
We
Josh?
have got probably one of the biggest weekends in South Shore coming up this weekend in recent history.
What's going on?
Well, it's the South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame 17th Annual Awards, and it takes 3 days to get through it.
So much stuff going on.
Oh,
you
there's
can't
stuff.
get it all in one day,
No,
or even
no,
2.
No. So big that on Sunday they have to have a breakfast just to feed everybody.
Well, you can't come to South Shore and have a big shindig without
Mhm.
food.
No, you
So-
can't. And
they're going to
food-
start tonight.
They are going to start tonight. The breakfast on Sunday, it's sponsored by the junior class of the Waverly South Shore School.
Nice.
And so all the money is going to go to their prom, I think is where that goes.
We're going to find out about some of the things going on here this weekend in South Shore with the 17th Annual South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame Award festivities. They've got some new inductees into this year's class in the South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame, and we'll learn more about that. Learn about who's being inducted and why, and a little bit about their background and their musical accomplishments. And you know this, Josh. There's no shortage of good musicians around South Dakota, this corner of the state. We take calls all the time about a jamboree going on here, there, everywhere, and there's just always good music being played up in this part of the state.
And it's that good classic music, that toe-tapping music that you can, you can enjoy, and audience of all ages can enjoy it. That's what I like, is that, I don't know if would you call it old style? I don't know. We'll have to ask Winnie.
Well, it depends on how old you are.
Sure.
If you're a youngster, old style might mean 10 years ago.
Right.
If you're older like me, you got to go back probably to the 50s, 60s,
sure.
70s.
Sure.
That's old style. By the way, our on-site engineer, that's what we're calling him today.
Todd Enderson.
It's Todd Enderson because he
also
came with us.
Our driver and on-site engineer, Todd Enderson.
He got us here safely. He's
At
going to
the
get us
speed
home
limit.
safely. I'm not sure he
Did
was
you
at the
watch
speed limit.
Did he go under 80?
When we were coming up the interstate, you were in the back seat. I hope you were paying attention. We passed a lot of vehicles on the way up. I don't think we got passed by anyone.
Really?
I didn't look at the speedometer,
He
though.
always says that he's getting passed.
Not on the drive up to South Shore today. He
Really?
wasn't. No.
I did hear him mention that the wind was a little bit of a factor.
It was.
Kind of
It's
pulled him
windy out
over a
there
couple
this morning.
times. But you think that he maintained 80 or
I'm sure.
never a mile over.
Todd keeps pointing at the camera
does.
because he wants us to mention
He set up all
that.
this equipment.
I'm glad he did, because between you and I, we'd have a pile of tangled cords here right
Like
now, and we'd be cussing, why isn't this
Chevy
working right?
Chase's Christmas vacation, when
Yeah.
he pulls out the
Christmas
ball of
lights.
lights and they're all tangled together. That would be you and I. But Todd Enderson put this all together, and he's streaming it on our website.
GoWatertown.net is our website, www.gowatertown.net. And if you go there, you can
It's actually where the arrows are streamed, their games are streamed too. So on the right side of the page, it says click here, an arrow banner, or you can see video. It'll drop down Watertown arrows, and then you'll be able to see the guests as you guys are chatting with the guests on GoWatertown.net.
beautiful.
So
All
you have
right,
to
there
click
you go.
on the sports icon there and watch the arrows. That's what it's set up under. So you can see the guests. You can see Mike Tanner and I this morning. Maybe our engineer will sneak in here and be on a segment or two, or maybe he'll just stand back in the corner and make sure everything is loading properly. So we've got a busy day up here in South Shore. What you've got a book next to you. What's that book laying over there?
Hang on, just
That's,
that wasn't.
Yep, that's for right.
This is a nice looking book here. South Shore Centennial: The Legend Lives On.
When did they celebrate their centennial?
I believe it was back in 2001, July, if I remember right.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding, because it says right on the cover of the book.
That's a nice little
But
book
look
there.
at-
Oh, look at that.
Lots of
wow.
old pictures
Wonder if
and
Joanne's in
write-ups on some of the families who've been around these parts for a long, long time.
That's kind of a fun book. We might have to look through that.
Lots
look,
of.
Is that that hee-haw thing that they do up here? They used to do?
Yes, it is. Right
Yeah.
here's the planning committee.
Oh, that is a planning committee.
Mhm.
What year's that?
It doesn't say. We can
Okay.
ask somebody and find out. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, nice book there. This has been. We're going to get to one of our guests who is going to be visiting with us from our studios in Watertown here in just a minute. And then we're going to welcome in some guests to talk about what's going on here in South Shore this weekend. This has been one of the craziest weather weeks in South Dakota that I can remember in a long, long time, Josh.
It has been. I mean, yeah. And everywhere you go, everybody, says, oh, this weather. And you start hearing people talk about how much rain they got or their family got or the damage that it did. And they show you pictures, and it's just unbelievable.
It really is. It started on Monday. We had confirmed tornadoes in Hamlin and Day counties, and fortunately those were, as tornadoes go, they were on the weaker side, and they didn't hit any highly populated areas, did some damage. But so you have those tornadoes on Monday. You had one confirmed in Hamlin County, 3 more in Day County by Webster and by Bristol. And then, we start progressing through the week, and then we have that monster tornado in Sioux Falls Tuesday night into early Wednesday.
3 tornadoes.
3 confirmed tornadoes down there, yeah.
And you know what, though? I mean, out of all the storms this week, would we have maybe a couple minor injuries?
Yeah, there were a few minor injuries in the Sioux Falls tornadoes.
Crazy that, you've got 3 tornadoes in the largest populated city in South Dakota, and you have a few minor injuries.
Right.
And it happened, before midnight. It was dark. It was at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And
well, the timing it's never a good time to have a tornado hit your community, but at least, based on the time that it hit Sioux Falls, close to midnight, there weren't a lot of people out on the streets. There weren't a lot of people out, so that probably helped the situation. So we get through those 3 tornadoes in Sioux Falls Tuesday night into Wednesday. And just as they're starting to clean up and pick up the pieces in Sioux Falls, we get unbelievable amounts of rain. I couldn't believe some of the pictures and the video that I was seeing, particularly south of here, down toward Madison, Interstate 90, Mitchell over toward Sioux Falls. I mean, Josh, we've had reports of some areas down there this week getting 14 inches of rain. That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. It is, and we're getting into fall, and I know that the weather has been a concern all summer long for the farmers, and now as we get closer to the harvest season and winter, it makes a lot of guys nervous. I think gals out there, and I think cities too are looking at these water amounts, and are we going to have enough time to dry it out or get that water moved out of here? And there are probably some nervous people going into the winter months because we look at spring in 2020, and we don't know what we're going to have for snowfall amounts.
Yeah, that's right. I talked with Dave Schaefer, the Hamlin County Emergency Manager, a couple of days ago about how high Lake Poncet has been all summer and still is. He thought at least 4 feet or more above full. And that's 4 feet. And that's before all of this rain the last couple of days. And he said, as long as the Big Sioux River is running high, and it is, he said the lake level is not going to be going down. And I mentioned to you and Todd on the drive up here today, when you get into this time of the year, mid-September, and you start kind of transitioning out of summer toward fall, and you just do not expect to see river levels like they are now. I don't know if you've been down to any of the river crossings in Watertown in the last couple of days. I mean, it's plumb full, and you just don't associate that with this time of the year.
You don't. You think spring, early summer, midsummer, but yeah, it's not things we like to see.
No.
And then who knows what next year will bring. I don't know what we've had for rain this year, but there's no controlling it, and you never know what the year will bring next year, and the winter snowfall amounts.
Josh says, I don't know what we've had for rain this year.
What do you have?
Funny you should ask, because I printed this out this morning. We have had, and this is for the year, so this would include snow from January 1st on, that they figure out what the liquid content is in the snow. So this would include all forms of precipitation this year. Watertown is just a smidgen under 29 inches for the year. Normal is a little over 17. So we're almost a foot above normal for precipitation in Watertown for the year. And we haven't had, and I mentioned this to Todd this morning, at least in Watertown, we haven't had nearly the rain that they've had in some parts of our listening area. There have been mornings where Todd says, we had a half an inch or we had 3/4 of an inch of rain here in Watertown, and he'll get a call from up by Butler or Florence or somewhere saying, Rawville, well, we had 3 1/4 in our gauge, or we had 3 1/2 in ours. So, if we're almost a foot above normal, imagine how far above normal some folks are.
Yeah, it is definitely a wet year, and we'll just have to see what happens. You know, I don't think much rain in the forecast, in the
No.
extended forecast. Huh?
I looked at the forecast this morning when I came in thinking we desperately need a stretch of dry weather.
Warm.
And it looks like it's, there's from today through next Thursday, the next 7 days, very little chance of rain, plenty of sunshine, plenty of wind, which Todd said that's exactly what we need to help dry things out. And it's going to get a little warmer, too. So you folks who have been pulling your hair out over this terrible weather here the last several days and hoping for things, Mark back at the station, you
no
don't
hair
have
to
any
pull
more
out.
to pull out.
No
now.
hair to pull. He's pulled it out. It's been stressful enough.
But it looks like better days are ahead,
I
and
hope
we,
so.
we desperately need them.
I
That
hope so.
is for sure.
Hey, we've got a busy show today.
We do.
We've got guests back in Watertown. We've got guests up in South Shore. We've got a lot of things to talk about. We've got a full weekend up here. Starts tonight, and like I said earlier, runs all through Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to talk the annual South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame Awards festivities.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the line of guests are waiting almost out the door. I mean, if you get any further, they're going to be waiting out the door.
Oh, man.
And,
Is our in-studio guest arrived in Watertown yet? Do we know?
Not yet.
No.
Mark says not yet.
Well,
So,
then we'll just move along and talk
okay.
to the people here. How's
we
that
gotta,
sound?
Yep, we got to take a break. While we take the break, we'll have the panel of judges rate us, see how we've done so far. Don't forget, you can judge us and rate us if you go online to gowatertown.net and you click on the live audio stream, click under the arrows, and that's where you'll find us today because we're using Todd's equipment, and he broadcasts all those Arrow games, as many as they'll allow him to, and you can see that right there by going to our website. You can see your mug, my mug, and then you'll be able to see our guests as well, and our traveling engineer, Todd Anderson, has set everything up so that you can view that this morning.
Done a fantastic job. We'll take a break. Mark, broadcasting from South Shore this morning on What's Up, and we'll be right back.
Independence, is that the word that comes to your mind when you think about the aging process?
What about the freedom to do things that matter most?
Hi, I'm Liz, an occupational therapist.
And I'm Sterling, physical therapist, and we're from Caring Edge Therapy. We're within the walls of Edgewood Senior Living, but here to serve all members of Watertown.
We pride ourselves on being specialized in the treatment of geriatric conditions and more recently in the treatment of Parkinson's disease. Allow everyone to live an active, independent life. To learn about how we can help you, give us a call at 954-4264. Caring Edge Therapy, your life restored.
David is an equipment operator. He's also a local volunteer firefighter. Meg is a civil engineer. She's also a Sunday school teacher. And Crystal is a CAD technician. She's also a mom and a wife. They're more than just highway workers. They're someone's everything. Drive like you work here. Give them a break. Brought to you by the South Dakota Department of Transportation and the Associated General Contractors of South Dakota.
Look, Mark's telling one of his stories.
All right, welcome back to What's Up on KWAT. We're in South Shore this morning. We've got guests here who will be joining us in a bit to talk about the Country Music Hall of Fame award festivities that are going on this weekend in South Shore, beginning tonight and running through Sunday. Right now, we've got an in-studio guest back in Watertown. Kelly Jaderborg is in. Kelly, good morning. Good to see you via video here. Okay, all right. You're with the Optimist Club, and you've got an event coming up tomorrow out at the Ernie Edwards National Guard Armory in Watertown that you wanted to visit with us a little bit about this morning. Tell us what you've got going on.
Kids of all ages, really, to climb and see those big machines up close and personal. So we'll have some tractors, some of the units from the National Guard. We'll have some construction trucks and equipment out there. The police department, the sheriff's department, search, dive, rescue will be out there. I'm sure we'll have some stuff from the fire department as well. And so it really just gives the public a chance to see that equipment up close and personal. It's all free. And we'll even have some face painting and balloon animals out there as well later in the afternoon.
What time do you get started, Kelly?
Yeah, the event goes from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay, and no cost.
There is no cost.
You've been doing this for a few years, I believe, haven't you?
Yeah, I think we took the year off last year, but we did it prior those 2 years. So, yeah, I think this is kind of our third time of doing this event.
It is sponsored by the Optimist Club, of which you are a member, correct?
I am, yes.
Tell us about the Optimist Club, your organization, its goal, and what you try to accomplish, a mission statement, if you will.
Yeah. So Optimist Club is really about bringing out the best in kids. And so everything that you kind of see us do in the community is geared around youth engagement, youth involvement. We really like to bring out the best in those kids. So, from my other role of being involved at the Boys and Girls Club, Optimist has been a great supporter of the Boys and Girls Club. We've been great supporters of the school district and other youth organizations in town like PAC and 4-H, the Wellness Center, just other, very, very well-deserving organizations. And you probably all know of our signature event throughout the year, our Winter Wonderland. And that's really where a lot of those funds come from and how we're able to do so much for the community and host free events like this.
If you're a kid, a young little guy, you might be able to see some of this big equipment from a distance, but tomorrow to be able to see it up close, and I don't know how much they'll let you climb around on it. You probably won't be able to start anything up and drive away, right?
No, we do tell the guests coming, make sure the keys are not in the ignition.
That's a good deal there. So again, give us the particulars of where it's at, the time that it starts and runs for, and it's a free event, family-oriented. It sounds like the weather's going to be nice tomorrow, so a good chance to get out and meet the machines.
Yeah, so the event is tomorrow, Saturday, September 14th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the National Guard Readiness Center, right there on north on Highway 20, right out of Watertown. We'll have over 20 equipment/vehicles there, and we'll have face painting and balloon animals later in the afternoon available as well, and that's all going to be free too. So it's a free event. We hope to have a lot of folks there because the weather is going to be beautiful.
Absolutely. Kelly, if someone wants to become an Optimist Club member, what requirements are they? And if they're interested in learning more about the work that you do, how can they join?
Yeah, we have weekly meetings at Pizza Ranch every Thursday at noon. It's always great to maybe come to a meeting and check it out and see, what we're all about. We're a really fun group. Obviously, being an Optimist Club, right? We like to laugh a lot and joke around with each other, and so it's a really fun group to be a part of and see, really all the cool things we do in the community, and then be involved in that kind of stuff. It's for me, it's a great highlight to volunteer out at Winter Wonderland. I know Josh makes appearances out there too, so we have a lot of fun with that event. And then we do some other small stuff with the community throughout the year too. So
better to be a member of the Optimist Club than the Pessimist Club, right? That's what I say.
Exactly. Yes. Our glasses are always half full at the meeting.
All right, sounds good. Anything else about the event tomorrow that you'd like to mention before we let you go?
Yeah, we were just, so fortunate with our partnership with the National Guard and the Readiness Center. They're a great location to host the event, and so we're always great to. It's always a great partnership to work with them and have that relationship. So.
Sounds good. Head out there tomorrow, starting at 11 o'clock, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, 11 to 3 p.m.
Sounds good. Kelly, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us today.
Have a great day. Again, the Meet the Machines event at the National Guard Readiness Center in Watertown tomorrow starting at 11 o'clock. We'll break from South Shore and be back right after this.
Hi, this is Jeff.
And Lynette.
From Jeff's Vacuum Center.
Hey,
Say, honey, why should someone come to our store, Jeff's Vacuum Center, to pick out a vacuum?
Well, for one thing, we have a large selection of vacuum cleaners to choose from, and we can help you pick one that fits your budget, your flooring, and your home. We also let people take things home on trial, so you can try it in your home and make sure that it will work on your carpet.
You know, honey, we also give service after the sale. We fix every make and model of vacuum ever made.
We also have a fabulous carpet extractor available in our store right now. It's a Royal machine. Stop down and take a look at it today.
So Jeff's Vacuum Center uptown.
708.
Watertown Arrow
Josh,
volleyball team back in action
where did the piece of
Tuesday
paper go
night.
with the
Could be a great matchup as Aberdeen Central comes to town to take on the Arrow girls in volleyball. Pre-game show around 6:50.
That one's not.
Start time at 7. Live audio and video stream on our website at gowatertown.net.
Are coming your way. The Watertown Arrows are going to do it today. You can.
Yep, it's the 16th annual. I got for some reason.
Welcome back to What's Up on KWAT, broadcasting from South Shore today. Again, live streaming, gowatertown.net. You can click on the live stream icon on our homepage and see the video and hear the audio of the broadcast from South Shore today. Winnie Iverson, good morning.
Good morning.
Hold that microphone up nice and close. Good morning
Good
to you.
morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
You are the big wheel with the South Dakota Country Music
I'm
Hall
a
of
wheel.
Fame.
I'm a wheel. I don't know about a big one.
You're a wheel, though.
I'm
huh?
the munchkin.
A
Yep.
mover and shaker, right?
Yes, sir.
And
Yep.
you're from Garrettson?
Yes.
How are
We
things
got
down there?
Wet water everywhere.
You didn't get the tornado, though, did you?
Or no, we did not in Garrettson. We had that 5 years ago. 4 years ago, that was enough.
Wow. So,
But there's water everywhere.
Yeah.
Roads are closed.
That's the case pretty much
Drive
all
careful
over
out there.
eastern South Dakota. How did the Country Music Hall of Fame get started? Give us a little history on this.
The very first event that was born for the South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame was a jam session to honor Kurt Powell, who was a longtime, well-known musician, and they had a jam session just to honor him. And then he got cancer and passed away, and the next jam session they had, they turned it into the South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame.
And that would have been what year?
2004 was the first annual event.
All right. And over the years, tell me how the organization has grown. From those early
It's
days.
exploded. We used to have about 4 or 5 or 6 inductees, and we have grown and now have included several other categories, newer categories to honor not just the musicians, but musicians that do other things like recording and promoters and stuff like that. And we have a Lifetime Achievement Award winner also.
We're going to talk about this year's inductees here in just a little bit. How many of them do we have, Winnie?
A bunch.
There's quite a bunch. And they are individual performers and bands or groups, right?
Well, yeah. Normally we have just individual inductees, but we do have one group that we brought in this year, and that's because they're celebrating their 50th anniversary. And this has been in the works for a long time, and we finally made it work, right, Neil? Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so they're from all over, so we incorporated it so they could all be here at the same time.
How does a person get nominated or inducted? Who decides that? What's the process for that?
The inductees are all nominated by peers, friends, or family, and professionals, and they come from all walks of life. And we do not do any inductee nominations. We do select the other award winners, like the CD award winners and stuff like that. We do select those from the board, but the rest of them are all nominees.
And it looks like this weekend you're going to be inducting some members on Saturday and some on Sunday.
Yeah, there's some folks that we found that are not able to come to the award ceremonies, which defeats the purpose of honoring them. So with the 3-day event, we're able to accommodate a lot more Yep.
We're going to talk about this year's inductees in just a second.
Do we
but
have to?
We do.
Okay.
I'm in charge.
I'm
and I say yes, we do. Let me ask you this, Winnie. How did you come to arrive at South Shore being the host site for this year's induction?
It's a long story, but I'm going to make it as brief as possible. A few years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Edine Landmark wanted to have a benefit for the South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame and include in that the Hall of Famers from this area. So they put on a benefit, and then Wendy Landmark Klein did her Patsy Cline tribute, and they had that over here at South Shore. And I came to that, and I thought that gymnasium was just fantastic.
Good place to hold it.
Yep,
right?
and so we've been looking at that ever since, and finally got it put together this year.
You move it around year to year from one location to the next? Or
No, I try not to do that. We've been at the state fair, but we've outgrown that. There's too many people that have allergies and being outside. So what we're doing over at the state fair now, like we did this year, we had 2 of our groups, Peggy Douglas and the Sons of the West, that we had on stage on the Dakota Land stage. So we were able to showcase them at the state fair and then have our award ceremony here. There's a lot of hurdles to do things at the fair, and we didn't have a lot of time to be able to set up. And like I say, we had the elements of the weather to fight, and it was a challenge.
As the president and CEO of the Country Music Hall of Fame here in South Dakota, it's got to be a lot of work for you to put this whole thing together. A lot of people to contact, and a lot of work has to go into this.
Yep.
And I hope you have some help doing it.
We do.
Good. Tell me a little bit about this year's inductees, and maybe if you want to mention them by name, and maybe give a little background information on them, if you don't mind.
I can do that. Absolutely. The first one we have is Jarrett Larson. Jarrett was a longtime musician and fellow musician friend of a lot of folks around here. Jarrett did pass away, and a lot of these folks, to go back to getting them inducted, a lot of these folks are waiting in the wings for a long time. We have a lot of inductees that are waiting to be inducted, so some of these things drag out for 2 to 3 or 4 years before we get them in. And Jared, unfortunately, has passed away, and my understanding was that his nominator indicated to him that he had nominated him, so he was aware before he passed away that this would probably happen for him. So I'm glad that we were able to do that. The next one we have Delaney Johnston. Delaney is 16, and she's been doing music and pursuing a music career for about 8 years now. And we started out that we don't ever want to not include, no matter what your age is, because we have applied for our 501c3 status, and with that we cannot discriminate against the younger or older or anyone. So we thought maybe what we should do though is start with a rising star, and so that's what we pursued with that this year. And she is from Deadwood right now, and she originated out of the Summit area.
I think I've seen her sing on stage with Sherwin Linton before.
Yep.
And that was over
Very much
in LaBolte at
Probably.
an outdoor concert over in LaBolte. And she's 16 now.
Yeah,
you said?
I know.
bet at the time she was probably
8 or 9.
Maybe I was going to say
Yeah.
7 or 8 years
Yeah.
old. She was
She
a
was
young
a little
girl.
girl, yeah. So
she
anyway.
sang Jackson
Yeah.
with Sherwin and Pam. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yep.
But okay, so
Yep.
Delaney Johnston is the Rising Star inductee.
Yep.
All right.
And then the 2 from our area, Joel Kustrup and Mr. Terry Foster, who's with us today too. A couple of my favorite musicians, so I'm glad that they were nominated and that we can induct them. They're both from Waverly, and if you don't know where Waverly is, it's a little bucket stop right south of South Shore. And
We've all been there.
they're fantastic musicians. If you have never seen them in concert or perform, go to Revillo to one of their jamborees. These 2 guys keep that music just rocking. They are so funny. Joel plays bass, and Terry plays drums.
All right.
The next one is Yancey DeVere. Yancey was a longtime cowboy musician out in the hills. He traveled all over the western part of South Dakota and North Dakota and just travels around doing cowboy music. And he's awesome to hear. If you get a chance, look him up. He is now located in Las Vegas. But he's going to be in North Dakota after he leaves us Saturday. So he's going to be actually a Saturday inductee. So if you guys out there have a flyer and he's listed in green, he should be in orange because he is going to be inducted on Saturday.
Okay.
Charles Badger Clark is an inductee, and he is deceased. He was South Dakota's very first poet laureate. What he did was he wrote a lot of cowboy poetry. And how this has come about, we've had several nominations for him, and it just happened to be that our CD of the Year award winner, Miss Peggy Douglas and the Badger Set Band, I got bank there, that's not right. But anyway, they put together a CD of his music, and we selected that as CD of the Year to kind of go along with the Badger Clark inductee. What Peggy has done is taken Badger's writings and she forms them into songs.
That's pretty
It's
neat.
pretty awesome, and she's got quite a story about that.
Okay. So she's with the band that was kind of formed based off his poetry writings. Then,
Yep.
And putting his writings into words and music.
And music,
It's a pretty neat deal.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then Stan Swadek, he is from Lake Andes. Peggy's from Hill City.
Okay.
Yep. And Stan Swadek is from Lake Andes, and he is a bass player, and he's played with so many bands. The Happy Memories Band is where he's at right now. They come and do music at the Active Generations in Sioux Falls, and they play all over down in their local area. Then we have Deech Cook, who is, let's wait with him. James Jacob Arts. He is a longtime musician. He grew up around the Rapid City area and performed out there. And his son was so proud of his dad. And we tried to get him inducted also. And unfortunately, he passed away before we could get him in, which we ended up doing this year. But he too knew that he was going to be inducted. So we were grateful for that. And the big group that we have is the Sons of the West. As inductees, we have Neil and Jenny Bogus, Terry and Deanna Bogus. You'll hear a lot of Boguses here with these. Kim and Marcy May, and Marcy is Neil and Terry's sister. So she is a Bogus. And then we have Edie Sandmeyer and Larry Berg. Larry was their drummer and helped out with drumming duties and photography and stuff. And Edie is a guitar player and does a lot of vocalizing. And so we're really proud of them.
They'll be inducted on Saturday.
They'll be inducted on Saturday, yep. And then we have the Lundstroms. We started out with just Lowell and Connie, and we added Larry and Gloria. And then their children are coming as well. So we're looking forward to having them here, and we're really proud of them. Songwriters of the Year, we've got two of them. Two very special people and two pretty different backgrounds in songwriting. John does original work more in the newer country style, and Edine does the classic music. And both of them do a fantastic job. Just thought they'd complement each other. So we have dual there. Promoters of the Year, we got Straw Bale Winery. They are out of Renner, South Dakota. And they the owners are Don and Susie South. And they have a wonderful winery down there. They have an outdoor stage, an old-style outdoor stage. And a lot of their music is outside. But they do a lot of gospel, folk. John performs out there a lot of his original music. They have so many groups out there. The Red Willow Band, they do a lot of benefits.
You know, the Promoters of the Year, that's an important award because you can be a musician, you can be in a group, in a band, but the promoters provide you that forum, that place to play.
Exactly.
And so kudos to those folks, Don and Susie South from Strawbale Winery in Renner.
Renner.
All right.
Yep.
The Promoters of the Year.
Promoters of the Year.
Congrats to them.
Yep. And what you said, Mike, is very important because it's like here we have to have a venue or we aren't successful. John Mills is from Volga and Edine Landmark is from Watertown. So we're very proud of them. Boomer Daryl Hoyland is our Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And this guy he loves music. He's loved music all of his life. He's went on tour. He's played with just about every big name band around in the Sioux Falls and the local area. He's played with, he was with Howie Gamber for a while. I think he's done some sit-in bass work with Myron Lee and the Caddies, and just an all-around super, super musician. We just love him. He's always willing to do a jam, and he'll jam forever.
And he'll be inducted Sunday.
And he'll be inducted on Sunday, yep. So you got to come in and hear him. He sings also, so we're very proud of him. And he's from Brandon, South Dakota. Another gal that we're very, very proud of is Kimberly Bachman. Kimberly is Gospel CD of the Year award winner. She has put together Kimberly K Old Time Gospel CD. It's very wonderful. And most of these folks will have their CDs with them, so give them a listen. And Deech Cook, he is from Gan Valley, and his CD, Who Can This Be, is our co-gospel CD of the year. And then a really important part of music is having somebody that's your right-hand man when you go out on the road. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Somebody to carry the equipment and help you make sure that,
We've got one.
Just like our sound guy here, yep. And we selected Patty Graffender. She is out of Cokato, Minnesota, but she has done a lot of work for us as well as our groups that play at the South Dakota State Fair. And Phyllis Hummel, one of her good friends, it was an inductee, and we took a real long look at that, and so we added that category this year. So Patty Graffender is our Road Warrior of the Year this year. Very important.
Those are your inductees for 2019.
Yep.
And this is a pretty big class. Does
Yep.
the size of the class vary from year to year? Some, and you mentioned that, sometimes these inductions are years in the making.
Right. And that's kind of where we're at with the gospel CDs of the year. Both of these two have been on hold. So we thought, well, okay, we got a guy and a gal, so let's just give them a shot because we got other gospel CDs of the year coming up. And the same way with the songwriters, we've got two. Normally, we would only have one.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Winnie, I'm going to have you stay right here. We're going to take a break, and then when
Okay.
we come back, we'll talk about the schedule of events for the weekend. Here,
Okay.
and everything that's going to be going on, places, times, things like
Okay.
that. So
Sounds
people
great.
who want to attend can come to South Shore this weekend for the 16th Annual South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame Award festivities going on at the South Shore School. Remember, we're streaming the program this morning, audio and video, on our homepage, gowatertown.net. We'll take a break and be right back. KWAT Watertown, you're listening to What's Up.
Your source, WAT, Watertown, South Dakota, 9:50 a.m. and online at gowatertown.net. And like our KWAT Watertown page on Facebook.
We're visiting with Casey from Stony Brook Suites on KWAT. And Casey, today you're going to tell us about some of the different amenities that residents of Stony Brook will find.
Yeah, we have a lot of different amenities that we provide here at Stony Brook. So first of all, we are staffed around the clock 24/7. So if there is a need that arises, we are there to help you. We also provide you assistance with your activities of daily living, that depending on each resident and what their specific needs are. We have a great exercise program that we do 3 days a week where they work on cardio, stretching, balance, and then we have our walking club 2 days a week. We also have a great activity program. We have anything from musical entertainment, our state-of-the-art movie theater where We have lots of different things that go on in there. We have
nice.
Wii games, Bible studies.
Nice.
We have anything from happy hour to bingo and cards. So lots of activities to keep you busy. We also have our beautiful coffee shop that is very welcoming, where many of our residents enjoy
Yeah, we'll go to the schedule of events
socializing
when we
over
come
a
back
cup
here.
of coffee. So we invite you to come out to
Okay, and
Stony Brook
before
to
we
see
end,
all
I
of the
really quickly wanna
amenities
touch
that we
base on our
have to offer.
We've
We're
got some
located at
fantastic
500 16th Avenue Northeast,
that.
which is 2 blocks north of the North Cowboy, or you can give us a call at 882-0013 to set up a tour. You also can check us out on Facebook to see all the fun activities that go on here at Stony Brook.
I get to introduce you at the
Welcome
award
back to
ceremony.
What's Up on KWAT, broadcasting from South Shore this morning. We're starting later on today. A full weekend of activities began at the 16th Annual South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame Awards. They're here in South Shore. We're visiting with Winnie Iverson, the president and CEO of the South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame. And Winnie, we haven't talked yet about the schedule of events going on this weekend. Starts today, runs through Sunday. Walk us through what will be taking place, where, and what times this weekend if people want to come on out.
Okay, here we go. Today, Friday, we're going to start the festivities this evening, and it will start out here at the gym, and we're going to have an open country music jam session. And a lot of our Hall of Famers will be involved with this. And we'll have lunch, walking tacos, ham sandwiches. We got all kinds of soft drinks, water, coffee. Iced tea. I was told I don't think we're going to have lemonade, but chips and bars. That was wishful thinking on my part when I made out the flyer.
Well, that's okay.
You know, I could try.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturday, because this is our first year and we're not real sure of what we're needing to do, and we'll get some feedback from you folks out there as you come. But we don't have anything going on in the morning. And if we do this again, that may change next year. But on Saturday, let's see. Let's go back to the open jam. Starts at 6 o'clock and run through approximately 10.
That's tonight.
Tonight. Yep, tonight. And we want everybody to come, including youth. So please, you guys, if you play a guitar or you can sing, come on down. We'll put you to work. And we've got Hall of Fame merchandise that's going to be available. And we've got a huge benefit that we've got going, silent auctions, door prizes. And tonight we're going to auction off a guitar. It is an acoustic guitar. And we're hoping that someone will donate that to one of our youth in attendance. So you kids out there, if you're listening, come on down and get signed up and see if we can draw your name for the guitar. And folks out there, let's help these kids out and get a guitar in their hands. And we'll have lots of door prizes. So that's what we're going to do for today.
And then tomorrow it looks like you get started again tomorrow evening.
We're going to do this at 6 o'clock tomorrow night again.
Okay.
And keep in mind that the doors open about 2 to 3 hours prior to the show. And mostly that's for the musicians. So if you guys are coming, just give a little leeway to the musicians and don't block the front doors. We need that for the musicians to haul their equipment in. So please be aware of that, and we know that you will. And that will begin at 6. I'll do some talking, but I'll do that before the show starts. So we'll start about 15 minutes ahead of time. And that way it gives the guys more music time.
So you're saying that people would rather come and hear music than hear you talk?
That's what the guys tell me.
Okay. And then you've got your some of the induction ceremonies being held tomorrow, and then more on Sunday. You go into Sunday, too.
Yep, more on Sunday. On Saturday, we also have lunches again, so check the back side of the flyer. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. My phone number is 605-310-2441, and don't be afraid to ring that phone. It rings off the hook, but I'll get you. And Sunday, we're going to start at 2 p.m. for the awards, the second half, but you guys stomp out and help support the junior class for the Waverly South Shore Coyotes. This will be at the South Shore Community Center. They're having a pancake breakfast, and that's with all the fixins. They'll have juice, coffee, we'll have water available, iced tea. And so be sure to come out and help them because they're going to be sponsoring this. So let's help them have a really awesome junior prom.
And that's on Sunday from 9 to noon.
9 to noon.
Okay.
Okay? And then the doors will open again at noon on Sunday. And we want you to come for the second half of the annual award ceremony. Again, we'll have announcements prior to that. The house band will always open the shows, and then within about 15 minutes or so, then we'll start the inductions. As soon as the inductions are over, the inductions, let me back up. The inductees will perform, each group, each act will perform 2 songs for both performances for the inductions.
Okay.
Once they're done, then they will prepare for the actual presentation of their plaques. And then we'll call them up one by one, and that way we don't have to move music stuff only but once. Okay?
And the awards ceremony on Sunday begins at 2 p.m.
That's right.
Okay.
There is no charge to get in the door, but we do have donation buckets, so we want you to be liberal if you can and help us out. All of the funding that we take in from our awards, events, and so forth go, of course, to pay the expenses for the shows, but anything left over we need to have help us pay for expenses at the Opera House and Museum in Lenox. And the Friday night benefit is going to help us put 2 portable ductless air units in. So we're going to have air conditioning finally, folks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, oh, I'm really excited.
I bet you
are. Okay, so no charge at the door, but help us out if you can and join us with our benefits.
Everything that you mentioned on the schedule of events from today through Sunday takes place at the school in South Shore, with the exception of that pancake breakfast on Sunday morning, and that takes place
that's here at the
right
community
where we
center.
are.
Yep.
At the community center.
Yep.
All right. You've got some great sponsors, I know, that help you out. Doing these kinds of things takes money. Everything costs money to do something, and you've got some great sponsors who help you put this together. Tell me about that.
I couldn't have done it without them. First of all, we want to send a big kudos to Budweiser for helping us with a lot of our flyers and stuff. And I'm not a good typist at 1 o'clock in the morning, so we've had some errors, so we apologize for that. The South Shore School Committee, we can't thank them enough for letting us come. Street Graphics, Mark and Beth St. Martin over at Millbank. Mark does all of our T-shirt graphics, and he helps us out. We're going to auction off a guitar on Sunday that is a tribute to Pam and Sherwin Linton. And he has inked that up and decorated it up, and it's amazing.
Okay.
Yep. And we want to thank some of the folks around the area here. Without Peggy and Joel and Terry and their wives and families, and it's just been amazing for the amount of work that these folks have put and come together with to help me with this. I just am overwhelmed with that. I almost cry. Thrivent Financial for the action team committees. I know that we've gotten some of their action team gift cards, and we can't thank them enough for that. And so we're overwhelmed with that. We've got Brittany Overwig. She is with the Financial Farm Bureau Services, and she's helping us out with some funding for getting our song guy up here. And that is Mr. Roy King out of Armour, South Dakota. I call him the Roy King Entertainment Service, so I'm waiting for him to see that. And he'll be here very soon with his equipment if he can get here and start setting up. And the Waverly South Shore Junior Class Coyotes. We want to thank them for helping us set up the chairs and throwing all that equipment around. They helped me unload my trailer the other night in our truck, and within an hour we were ready to send them home.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. So thanks to all the sponsors who make the weekend possible here.
Oh, that's right. You know what? I got to send out a huge kudos to Jurgens Printing over in Watertown. This is a dilemma that we went through. We went down to the museum to get our books ready. I make history books, kind of like the ones that Joanne.
Yep.
And we also want to thank Joanne for getting us in touch with you guys. Amazing.
That's why we're here.
I need all the help I can get there. But anyway, first of all, we lost our electricity in Lenox on Tuesday, so we got behind. So Wednesday, we were going to take our books up to get them bound. The tornado had went through, and unfortunately, Staples was part of that
tornado
debris team. Yes. So we had nowhere to get our books done. So we started calling around, and we finally found Jurgens Printing up here in Watertown. And as soon as we got here, next morning we dropped those books off. So they're going to get our books bound for us. So eternally grateful.
And you have a homepage, a web page. And
we got a website.
You have a website, and I was on there this morning for just a little bit at the radio station before we made the drive up here. There is a ton of information on there. And tell people what that website address is, and if they visit it, what kind of things they'll be able to find on there.
www.southdakotacountrymusichollofame.org. And if you Google it, just put in South Dakota Country Music, then you won't have to spend a lot of time typing our address and stuff in. And we're also on Facebook, South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame. And I'm on Facebook, Winnie, W-I-N-I, Iverson, I-V-E-R-S-O-N. And just go in there and like us. We're trying to get 1,000 likes before we're done. And I think we're only like 30 or 40 away.
Well, we should be able
to
hop in there and
like us on Facebook. We got a CD that'll be donated to you if you are the 1,000th.
The
1,000th.
She's tongue-tied. Let me help you out here, Winnie.
1,000th
like.
We'll get a CD from Neil Bogus of the Sons of the West.
There you go. What number do you have to be again?
You have to be 1,000.
There you go.
We'll skip the 1,000th.
I want you to give your phone number out again because we've been talking about a lot of stuff here this morning, and if people have questions about anything that we've talked about, they certainly can give you a call.
Yep.
And give us your number again, and I'm going to repeat it a couple of times before the program is over.
Sure, that's no problem. You can reach me at 605-310-2441. And I don't know, you guys, how up-to-date our website is. We have been overwhelmed with paperwork, getting our books and stuff out. And but you will find just about everything you need to know about us. We've also got some stuff on there about our Opera House and Museum in Lenox. And that is also a major project for us. So we had some really good help. I have our board members, Emily, Dawn, and Sarah, and myself. And Dawn's husband went up on the roof and did some caulking and sealed the roof so it no longer leaks. I am so thrilled because now we can paint. And we're going to have a really nice Opry House and Museum down there at Lenox. But all that stuff is on the web.
What will people find in the museum? Instruments and pictures?
Oh, my God. We've got all kinds of stuff down there. The biggest treasure that I have is Edine Landmark, who is, without a doubt, Edine is one of my most favorite people in the world. I love him to death. And there isn't a whole lot of anything that he won't do to help me. But I've got his very first guitar and mandolin. And Edine is an old guy.
He's probably listening right now.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, if he's listening, he knows. He knows how much I appreciate him.
And that's in Lenox.
In Lenox,
okay.
Yes. So we always want you to come and see us there on our events. But it's on the website. Take a look.
Website is southdakotacountrymusichollofame.org. And Winnie's phone number, if you have any questions, is 605-310-2441.
You got it.
All right.
Awesome.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right, we're going to go to break here. We've got one segment to go on a Friday morning from South Shore, and we will be right back.
When it's time for you or one of your loved ones to move from their home into a facility, you write a list of what to look for when choosing a care center. A clean, bright facility that believes in the highest quality standard. A staff that believes in loving, tender care, warm smiles, caring attitude, compassion, and professionalism. If this is what you want, you have just described the Esterline Nursing and Care Center. Call Sherry Bjorklund, 873-2278. Just minutes from Watertown.
My teenage son only has one brain.
and it'll keep developing through his mid-20s. But if he uses e-cigarettes, the nicotine in them can impact attention, learning, and memory, and can prime the brain for addiction. So I've talked to him about staying away from e-cigarettes, because my son only has one brain.
Learn more at cdc.gov/e-cigarettes today. A message from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and this station.
All right, we are back in South Shore, final segment on a Friday morning, and a big weekend coming up here in South Shore at the school as the Country Music Hall of Fame awards will be handed out. Full slate of activities beginning tonight and running through Sunday. And we're pleased to be joined now by Neil Bogus and Terry Foster. Thank you, gentlemen. Neil, we'll start with you. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be here.
You're originally from?
Millbank.
And you now live in?
Claremont, Florida.
Whereabouts in Florida is that?
That is 22 miles to the west of Orlando. So I am in the middle of the state, 50 miles from the ocean, 50 miles from the Gulf.
So you don't have to worry about hurricanes, really, a whole lot, do you?
Keep thinking that.
Well, you dodged the last
We
one
did,
down there
and
in
I
Florida.
was up here when it was happening. There's really nothing worse to be 1,800 miles from your house, and they're telling you it could be a Category 5 going right over your home.
Mhm.
But the last big one we had was Irma, and I got a few shingles, but that was it. So I'm pretty protected.
Good, good. What does this weekend mean to you?
Well, I think you can get into all kinds of words about it. It's huge. We've had 17 band members over 50 years. This is our 50th year we played music. Interesting story. One of the very first radio station that our band ever played on was KWAT.
Nice. You
And
picked the right one.
you
I
bet.
like it.
And they had a show called Talent with a Heart, if I remember what it was called. And we'd come over and play. Sherwin Linton would come over and play, and people would pledge money towards you playing. And that was way back in the 1960s. But this is the first radio station we ever played on.
That's awesome. Live music on the radio. That's pretty
Yep.
neat. How did your band, Sons of the West, how did it get formed? Who formed it? Way back when?
Okay, good question. My brother and I did. We lived in Millbank till I was 18, and my dad worked for the railroad, got transferred over to Aberdeen, and up there we got into the music scene and played with some other bands, and finally said, I think we need to be our own band. And so we were actually Sons of the West with an O-N-S, and after a while we realized that if you have anybody, a girl singer with you, S-O-N-S doesn't work very good, so we switched that to Sons. It also was partly because we were not just playing country music, but we were into the Elvis stuff and the Beach Boys and things like that too. So that seemed to work a little better.
A lot of bands will come and go. They'll change members over the years. How do you keep a band together for 50 years?
It's all your family.
And you have to get along, I
You have to
suppose,
get
right?
along. It's myself, my brother, my sister, and our spouses. We're all together for the longest amount of time. And then Terry Foster came along. We've had, like I said, 17 different people. In the early days when my brother couldn't show up, my mom would step in and play bass guitar and sing with us also. So we've been very fortunate.
You must have grown up in a musical family where there were always instruments in the house and somebody was strumming a guitar or something.
I wish that was true, but that we took piano lessons.
Okay.
But we taught ourselves to play guitar and started out as in South Dakota a basement band basically, and went into the Snow Queen talent I was going to say Snow Queen contest, but we don't look that good in a dress. So into the talent contest and won that 3 years in a row, and went into the band business after that. And at our peak in the 70s, we were touring all over the United States and just had a ball. It was great.
How many shows a year do you do now? Has it kind of tapered off some?
Yeah, a lot. It's mostly reunion shows, probably a dozen or less, dozen or more. I mean something in that. But at our peak, we were running 250 days a year on the road. You didn't have a house. Your home was where your mom and dad is, or where your suitcase was.
Right,
So
right.
it's been a heck of a ride. We got to play with almost all the stars you can think of, and had a great time doing it.
Who are a few folks that you've maybe opened for or played with?
I'll give you some of the ones that are more known. Most of them are dead now, unfortunately. Tennessee Ernie Ford, we opened for him. Hank Williams Jr., Jerry Reed. Oh, man. We worked with the stars of the Lawrence Welk Show for a while. Kind of keep that South Dakota connection into that. It was, I don't know, a lot of them. And they were mostly pretty nice people. To some kids from South Dakota, it was great.
Did you, or when I ask you about favorite venues to play, you know, a lot of those dance halls way back when, they're not around anymore.
No.
What were some of your memorable venues around here or anywhere to play?
Well, I played quite a few that had chicken wire in front of their band.
Sure, sure.
I want to tell you that. What ones did you hit?
Actually, the Coliseum in the Valley. I don't think we ever did do the ranch, but it's been like Clark. We used to go out, our band used to go out about 150 miles out around Watertown. And so Clark was always a big one. Kranzberg was always a big one. The Legion, we did the VFW a few times. The Sunnyside was the biggest one that we always did in Watertown. And that's no longer there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was just a lot of the old places there. We used to do Turton, Raymond, and even south of Armour was the farthest south we ever went. So, yeah, and that was back at the old band there that we had before. Joey and I, of course, are still together since we've been doing that. And so that's putting about 43 years that we've been together.
It's a shame that a lot of some of those great venues that Terry just mentioned aren't around anymore because they had so much history, musical history and history otherwise with them. You know?
You were something when you played the ranch. You know what I mean? That was awesome.
Yeah, you just went to visit there.
Yes. Later in our career, we ended up playing in festivals and the state fair circuit and the county fair circuit. And, I mean, there's nothing like stepping out in front of 10,000 people, I'll be honest with you. Your adrenaline is pumping. I got into radio for a while, did that over in Millbank a while. And I think we both have had a lot of fun, don't you think?
I do believe so. You know, after all the years here, you know, like you say, you know, we both grew up with a lot of music. You know, back in the years, we all took piano. I mean, the 6 of us kids that were in our family, we were required to take piano. So we just kind of grew from there. But yeah, the music itself is what's kept me going. I never expected to even be this old in order to keep on going. This is what's kept me going all these years, and then playing with a lot of different musicians all the time. We've had a lot of fun, and to us, like Joey says, and I agree with him, if you don't have a little fun out there, it isn't worth going out then, because, you know, you get the people involved, and they have fun, and you have fun. It just makes the night go a whole lot easier.
One of the questions I like to ask musicians is who their influences were when they were kind of starting out. Who did you listen to, and who did you maybe try and pattern yourself after?
Well, I started out listening to the Beatles. And my mom wouldn't let us grow our hair long. So pretty soon we were switched over to Hank Williams. Now, the interesting thing is most of the people that are considered classic artists now weren't classic when I was singing their songs. Obviously, Sherwin Linton ran into him many, many times on the road, too. So I had a variety of interests in musical people, I think. What about
Terry,
you?
how about you?
My main ones there, I started with Eddie Arnold was my biggest one that I always, and I did get to see him perform down in Brookings there many years ago. But it was Eddie Arnold, Marty Robbins, even Johnny Cash to a certain extent, but Jim Reeves was my top one that I always had. And, of course, we all grew up, as you did too, Lawrence Welk. And I was more interested in the big band sound. I really enjoy the big band sound itself. But those 3 guys there were my main influence there, other than what being pushed from my mother and my sister, my oldest sister.
I'm not a musician, but the guy that I have loved all my life, he's not with us anymore, but I loved him as a kid growing up and still do to this day, is Merle Haggard.
Oh, absolutely.
The songs that he wrote and how he could sing them is unbelievable.
Merle Haggard story.
Sure.
1969, I'm living in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and we drive by the Holiday Inn, and there is the bus for Hank Williams Jr. My mom goes home, calls the Holiday Inn, and says, I want to talk to Hank Williams Jr. They put him through. He says, hey, this is Hank. She says, you know what, I want my kids to play on your show tonight at the Aberdeen Arena. And he says, okay, come on down. I'm telling you the truth.
That just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. We get down there, and we met his band guy, which was Lamar, and I said to him, do you guys know this song that we're going to sing? And he looked at me and said, yeah, I think we can follow along. And I go, okay. He said, just tell me the key. I said, key of D. And he said, get up there and start it. So we walked down there, and there was about 4,000, 5,000 people. Walked up there, and I started singing it. I did not know it was the #1 song in the United States at a time. I started singing, we don't smoke marijuana in Muskogee. And the place goes nuts.
Wow.
They're standing up there, and for 2 kids from South Dakota, we're going, holy moly, this is incredible. That's my Merle Haggard and my Hank Williams Jr. connection.
What a cool story.
And it's true.
Neat. That is really neat. Hey, guys, it was good to visit with you. Congratulations on your inductions this weekend. I know you're going to have a blast. And keep playing. Just keep playing.
That's what keeps us young.
Absolutely.
As far as I'm concerned, yeah, that's what keeps us young. We're both in about the same age bracket right now, but we both have to agree that this is what we've done, and it just kept us going. And, of course, it keeps us out of the wife's hair, too, except for he can't. His wife was with him most of the time, so he can't.
I had to marry my wife to get her to come along in the band.
There you go. Neil, Terry, congratulations on your inductions this weekend, and thank you for joining us here this morning.
It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Terry Foster and Neil Bogus with us. Josh, we're about plumb out of time here, aren't
Yeah, the engineer and our driver has said that we need to wrap the show up if we want to ride back to Watertown.
What did you learn? You had your nose in this book most of the show.
I did. Do you know why South Shore is called South Shore?
Because it's on the south shore of a lake.
Oh, my God, somebody get that guy a donut.
That's just a guess.
That is where it came from. Yeah, that's very impressive there. So very interesting. Reading on South Shore, I was kind of reading through some of the timeline of South Shore. And did you know, let's see here if I can find that real quick. I found it kind of neat. Let's see here. Well, shoot, there were so many things here, and Todd wants us to go. But there's a feller in here. Oh, let's see. I don't know where it's at here. But they one time, back in 1908, they were drilling for oil in South Shore. They drilled 800 feet in one spot and didn't find much. So they abandoned it.
Didn't find any bubble in crude.
No bubble in crude, but there is rumors up here that there is oil up in them hills in South Shore.
There you go.
We have to go.
We need to say thanks to Mark Panic.
Mark
back
Panic,
at the
that guy
radio
right
station
there.
for engineering. Thanks, Joanne, for steering
Lining
us
this
up here.
And I think she brought the donuts, too. Did you have one of them jelly-filled?
No, I haven't yet. Been talking on the radio too much.
All right.
And thanks to Winnie and to Neil and to Terry. And again, South Dakota Country Music Hall of Fame.org is the website. If you have any questions about what's going on here this weekend in South Shore, you can call Winnie 605-310-2441. That's her number.
Going to be a good time in South Shore this weekend.
Indeed
we got to go.
Got to go. Thanks for listening to What's
Thanks,
Up.
Mark.
Thank you, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, very good. Thanks, gentlemen. Todd really won't leave without them. He might.
KWAT provides What's Up for controversial and entertaining issues of area importance, and to offer a reasonable opportunity for the presentation of contrasting viewpoints. The viewpoints expressed by callers to What's Up are not necessarily the viewpoints held by KWAT Radio or its employees.
Brought to you by Attorney Tax. If you're in trouble with the IRS and owe at least $10,000 in back taxes, listen to this important